Hello, collective. Welcome back to your weekly quantum teaching. This week, we are going to get back to basics and talk about the quantum realm. Is it a real place? Is it an actual place? Or is it something that's important to you in your journey as you watch this? I want you to stick around because I'm going to provide examples into the reason as to why learning about the quantum realm today is going to help you on your journey while you're alive on Earth. Every week, we have been talking about quantum mechanics, quantum theory, and the different aspects of the quantum world in itself. Naturally, quantum teachings. And part of that comes with learning about dimensions, time travel, the illusion of time, astral travel, right? Learning about different aspects of quantum mechanics, quantum theory, and the science aspect, wave-particle duality, entanglement theory, etc. So if you haven't watched previous videos, I encourage you to. Every single week, we talk about the 15 minutes or so of a lesson around quantum mechanics, quantum theory, and how it's relevant to our everyday life, the way that we experience and see things, the way that we perceive things, but also to this understanding of the world beyond. So with this in mind, I want to share with you guys a little bit more about the quantum realm here. The quantum realm is a different way of looking at things. Think about how when we go through trauma or loss, right? The lesson of loss, every single human being on earth will go through something and basically either lose something or gain it. But most of us, if not all of us, will go through the lesson of loss. And as we lose things, we start to retain a different perception, right? The quantum realm works in the same way, right? If someone goes through trauma or wounding or a very challenging situation in life, it can change them. Think about your own life. Have you ever gone through something that has been so, different, difficult, challenging, unique, maybe it's positive, that it changes your perception on things. It changes the way you look at things, right? Or if we're going to talk about psychology tests as another example, we often take psychology tests to understand things about our personality. I'm a millennial, so when I was growing up in high school, I went to school in Texas, we took the Myers-Briggs personality test, the way in which our personality was, whether we were extroverted, introverted, whether we were people that thought more or perceived more, judged more or intuitive, things like that. And so when you take these tests, or when you're going through life's challenges, life's tests, whether it's a physical personality psychology test or whether it's life's test itself, it changes the way you look at things. And the quantum realm is the same thing, right? So I'm hearing this saying, I'm totally going to butcher this because I'm totally not getting it exactly the way it's being channeled to me and the way that I hear it because it's very faint, but it's like, objects observed are not as seen, or objects seen are not really as what is observed. And it's kind of also like, I'm seeing an image of a cereal box here. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this growing up. Like on cereal boxes, when they have like the bowl of cereal and then you have like the actual cereal shape, and then it shows like the cereal shape down in the corner. And sometimes it'll say like not actual size, or sometimes it'll say in the corner it'll show and it'll say actual size of the cereal. So like they'll enlarge the image of the cereal bowl and basically share that it's not the actual size. So the quantum realm works the same way, right? I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. The quantum realm is a different way of looking at why things are the way they are. It's seeing things differently. It's seeing outside of the box. When we see a cereal box and we see the enlarged image, we're seeing it different than the way that the actual cereal is shaped inside the box. Similarly, when we go through a loss in life, we tend to look at, after that experience, things differently than the way that they were before or the way that they were. I'm hearing the story there. I'm hearing the saying, there's always more than one side to a story. There's more than two sides to a coin. So the quantum realm works this way. It is an ever-expansive space across all layers of dimensions of time. The quantum realm is essentially synonymous with the astral world, the astral realm, the other dimensions outside of the 3D, inclusive of the 3D is what I'm hearing. The quantum realm is the universe. The quantum realm can also be diagnosed as space. So, if we're going to talk about where it's at, it's sort of like the Akashic record, right? The Akashic record can be accessed at any point in time in the world, right? But the quantum realm is the expansiveness of all that is. It's where time is showing the past, present, and future. It's where the Akashic record exists. It's where the dimensions are existing. The quantum realm is the container. And although the container is infinite, we're channeling here, by the way, although the quantum realm is infinite, it's limitless, it goes beyond 5 dimensions, it goes beyond 8 dimensions, it goes into the 18th dimension, and so on. What we're feeling here and what I'm sharing here is coming through as the quantum realm is the container. It is the holder of all that is of the creation, but it is not something that can be physically touched, because it can only be physically touched when we are in the physical dimension. It can be experienced in the physical world through astral projection and astral travel. You as a soul still living in your human body, astral projecting and astral traveling, experiencing the quantum realm in that way. When you're asleep, I shared the dream world, the importance of dream state in a previous video. When you're asleep, you're entering that REM sleep. In between stage 5 and stage 2, 3, when you're getting into that deep sleep is when your body, your consciousness is able to astral travel. And even in the full REM sleep, which scientists have been studying, we enter into the astral travel realm, the astral travel state, if you will. That is the quantum realm. You have to think in terms of like what has already been proven and what is possible. And this is what the quantum realm invites us to understand. If we know that it is 8 a.m. in Japan right now, while it is 8 p.m. in Chicago, Illinois, why would we think that it is not possible for the year of 1868 to be existing at the same time as 2024, at the same time as 2030, right? It is a different Earth time in another country, in another state. So it is possible for that to be the same case in the quantum realm. So the quantum realm is the container that holds all space-time dimensions. And it's important for you to understand this because it allows you to remember that life is limitless. There are infinite possibilities in existence. And because time is an illusion, which is something that we're going to touch on in next week's video, we can understand that the quantum realm is the container. It is the cup. And so we're all living in our own sort of universe, if you will, our own perception of reality. And the quantum realm holds all of those perceptions of reality, not just of all 8 billion people on Earth, but of the perception of Earth in itself as its own entity, as its own being, and the perceptions of all the planets that exist, the other extraterrestrial beings that are in existence, the other universe and galaxies that are of existence. And so taking it from small to big, the quantum realm is the container, okay? I want you guys to remember this. When we're talking about the quantum realm, it is the container, okay? It is the container that holds the Akashic record, that holds space, the universe, our galaxy, and it cannot be made logical because it is a sort of esoteric astral space. So like, for example, when you are in space, right? Okay, I love this example that is just being given to me. Archangel Sandalphon is here with me, as well as Archangel Gabriel and Raphael. I feel Michael's presence as well. So, you know, when you're in space, right, and we've seen this in videos, and, you know, there's a lot of things that I could go on and on about space. I have my own opinion about space and whether we've reached space or not. But essentially, the science around space is that there's no gravity. And so astronauts, without their spacesuit, they would not have been able to breathe. There's no oxygen, there's no gravity that's able to anchor them down. And so it's almost like you toss something in space and it's just going to be floating. So this is how the quantum realm is, right? It's just space. It's just space that is existing, like atoms that are just existing around us. This is how the quantum realm is, right? It's this free particle, radical energy of space, this container of space that is infinite, that is limitless. And so it holds all these aspects of creation that are able to, as we go down the layers of dimensions, to be able to become more materialized, more physical, more solid. So if 2D is just whatever you draw, those doodles you draw on your piece of paper, we know that the dimension 2D exists in the quantum realm. It is below the Earth. It is also considered to be a lower vibrational energy. What we can then say is that the 3D is right here. It starts to build. So you can think of the 3D as a cube, where the 2D was just the square shape itself. The 3D is the cube, the facet of the cube, right? It is the facet of a three-dimensional object. You can think of a Rubik's Cube. And so as the 3D begins to develop, we start to see different dimensions and shapes and layers. And so when we go from 3D to 4D, we start to add a fourth layer and so on and so on. So it's like getting a stacks of paper, the dimensions, width and length. And what happens is we end up having not only the length of the dimension, we end up having the width, and we end up having the height. And so with dimensions, this is how it plays out. The complexity of the dimensions in the quantum realm begins to expand. You can think of like how, and I definitely have talked about this before because I'm getting reminded of how I talked about this in a previous video. I think it was a dimensions teaching where, you know, the 3D is its cube, right? 2D is just the square itself. 3D is the cube. As we get to 4D, what we end up discovering is that there's more layers to it. And there almost is another cube within another cube. And as we begin to go into 5D, that cube becomes complex. It becomes a cube within a cube within a cube. And time has absolutely no relevancy in 5D consciousness. Meaning, when you have worked on yourself, you have worked on your healing, you have worked on your journey, worked on your shadow work, just worked on even improving your mindset and healing yourself from the trauma, the wounds that have shackled you throughout your life, you start to consciously perceive reality differently. The quantum realm, remember what I said, is a different way of looking at things. Just like those psychology tests, as you begin to go through different life experiences, the answers to those psychology tests for you personally begin to change. And so that's what happens. Your consciousness begins to perceive different dimensions. Even though you're existing in the third dimension, you're still on Earth, you begin to perceive 4D and 5D realities. You begin to perceive the power of manifestation, of the law of attraction, of what happens in the quantum realm when you have gotten to this consciousness point of understanding the lesson of your journey, of learning those lessons, of understanding who you are, understanding and learning and receiving more knowledge and wisdom about who you are, about your family, about what interests you and brings you joy, and all of these fluffy things that are very pivotal and valuable to our experience on Earth, right? Because they're contributing to the way that the quantum realm plays in our experience. So you have full access over the quantum realm as you begin to heal and work on yourself, as you begin to perceive reality differently. And it's like already, naturally, organically, the process of human evolution is as we age and go through different life experiences, love, loss, heartbreak, rejection, things like that, our perception starts to change. We might become bitter, or we might become on the whole other end of the spectrum and become totally into unconditional love and seeing the world in a different light. And every single soul is going to have a different experience connected to that. But what happens here is that we start to perceive reality in a different way that allows our consciousness to perceive the quantum realm such that we start to look at things differently. And science is currently proving how the quantum realm, this container of all of creation, is able to allow us to simultaneously co-create in this way, live in the same time, but experience it in different ways. So I hope that this helped. Next week, we're going to talk about the illusion of time. Let me know if anything in this video resonated. And of course, collective, until next time, go and grow.